All right, taco cart. So got a bunch of quick jobs right now. So we're gonna have some quick videos. A few things I want to go over on this. You guys might already be working on it. You might already have it done. I don't know. I know the parts will be coming in today. So I'll show you what's up with the parts at least. So here's the idea, existing taco cart, but they want to be able to get above the slot toppers in the casino so you can see that they've got $1 tacos. So we're going to make a couple holders, and then this thing is removable, slides in and out. It's essentially one big giant modified blade sign for like cabezons, 2 inches wide, a couple of sticks of 1 by 1.5 inches, and then some hooks and cintra and whatnot. So just a couple things I want to go over though. So the main thing is that for the body itself, again, like I said, it's going to be mostly, oh, by the way, I got my window open. So if we hear outdoor noises, I'm just trying to get some cool air. But around this time, we're due for some sirens. So I'm sure we'll hear that, every time I press record, I get sirens. So, but the main thing is this guy here is for civilian use. So like most of our signs, we tack them together, we throw some faces on it, you get that strength from the face and all that. And then all it has to do is live on the wall or hang, But on this one, it's going to come in and out, in and out. Civilians are going to be lifting it up. They're going to set it down. It's going to fall over, that type of thing. So let's make sure that we do more than just tack it together. So the idea is that where's a sandwich view? Here you go. So you're going to have your 1 by 1.5 inch square tube or rectangle tube is going to go through, and then we're going to have the jiggies, and then the jiggies create the sandwich to the actual frame. So there's actually quite a bit of little space right here. So you're going to have to kind of get this lined up. You have the benefit of the bottom, right? That's going to lock in, but the top is going to have a little bit of leeway. So you're going to make sure that you get that sort of lined up, eyeball it straight. And then you're going to go ahead and what I would do is throw some clamps in there, get some C-clamps, wake them up, put them in there, and then make sure that this is clamped up nice. The other thing is you want to make sure that the top is buried to the very top on both of them, because that's going to set your level. So make sure that both of these are cut to each other the same. And then that's it. So you're going to slide that up. But the whole point is that the load of the frame, you're going to want to make sure you burn that well to the jiggy. And then the jiggy is going to transfer load to the post. So you're only going to really be able to put some fillet welds here and here, but I would also then take advantage of make sure you can get that jiggy to the frame, throw a burn there, and then down here. So burn it everywhere you can get it, and then burn the frame to the jiggy really well, and then of course on the inside burn the jiggy to the stick. So make sure that's nice and strong to put up with, because also without the faces on there, like Lord's Dawn aluminum face, you're going to be able to twist it a little bit. You're going to get a little Twizzler licorice going and all that. So that's all. But the other side of that, again, is, we know that working with routed aluminum, you're going to get, at some point during the day, we're bleeding. And that's fine with us, because that's kind of like how it is. You work with, CNC'd aluminum, it's sharp. But we don't want that for the civilians. So let's make sure that all of our edges take the time to go through and make sure everything's super safe. Possibly before you even route or bend it up, take some 320, kind of go over everything and ease off all edges. And more than just taking the deburr tool and running it all over, that works. But we want to make sure that all of these edges are super eased, because they're going to be grabbing like this stick here, lifting, and then maybe putting their hand here to kind of set it down. So you want to make sure there's nothing that can make somebody bleed out. Like, we're just used to it. Cuts and scrapes. That's how we roll. Now for the base parts, this guy here is going to slide in like a flagpole. So the base part, I wanted to make sure, again, we don't want this thing ever falling. We don't want any liability, because you can see it's up there. This is 9 feet tall. So having this fall down on somebody would really make them sad, make us sad. So I'm doing 1/4 inch on this. Overkill, bomb proof, but hopefully never, ever, 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 ever should have an issue. But again, before you go 3D with this, I would take all flat parts and I would make sure that you 320 or something, all DA, make sure every edge is nice and safe. We want to make sure nobody can cut themselves, make sure everything's all nice and good. And then for that, again, burn it up. Now, I don't think you need to do full pen weld on every single line, every single linear inch, but let's make sure we are burned in good. Keep clear though, the landing pad's at the bottom. The landing pad will have like a 16th island fill that it kind of locks into down here. And of course the top one is the opened through. So there's a no-fly zone for welds on the inside, obviously where you slide the pipe in right there. But on the outside here, let's burn it up good. On the bottom for sure, because that has to, I'd go all the way across here because that has to support the whole thing. So again, no liability. Let's make sure we make it bomb-proof. I got plenty of screws to get into the frame. It's a 3/4 by 3/4 steel frame that this box thing here is. That's what that is. So install's going to be hitting that up. So I got those right there. So it'll be nice and strong. But that's the idea there. Strength, strong, and safe for everybody. Now let's talk about the Sintras. Bert already kind of did a little experimental thing. He knows what's up with that. I've got the Sintras here. We're going to use those 3/8 rivets or grommets that act like rivets. But the one picture he showed me though, the snout that pushes through, that has to curl around and come back to the other flat washer piece. The ones we have in the shop might be a little too thin. So sort of like riv nuts, you got to get the right one. So look for McMaster today, Friday. I brought in some grommets that are the same size, the 3/8, but and they might work on our machine. I'm not sure. But they say they're for 0.139. So they're for like woven fabrics. So maybe do a couple testers, a little chunk of Sintra, and see if you can get the machine to curl that. The whole point though, if you can't get grommets to work, the whole idea though is to try to reinforce this with metal somehow. I was even thinking like VHB washers, but that might not be as good. So if we can get grommets to work, that's the idea. But otherwise, we're just trying to reinforce the hole with metal. And then these guys. So the hooks, I looked all over the place. There's many different types of hooks. I even thought about, well, what if we just take our normal like Cabazon eye hooks, right? The circles, and then we chop it in half. Problem is that puts the dip. It just gives you a dip hook here, and then that pushes the panel way out. We don't want that. We want the panel to be, basically right up against the frame itself. So any of the ones that actually have like an actual hooky, that comes out and goes whoop, makes the noise whoop, it puts the panel way out here. So that's no good. Also the ones that are more of just like an L hook, I'm thinking, yeah, I saw those. Those are all lag bolt threads. They're all for wood. So all the ones that just do little L is just boo. So literally this is the only thing that's threaded that works. So it's 1/4 20 riv nuts across the top there, right? Boom, boom. And then, oops, where'd we go? There it is. So you're gonna have to modify them. So you're gonna have to cut to length, and then you're gonna have to modify this, because obviously you can't, with the full hook, you can't get the thing on and off. So as far as length goes, the whole idea though is just they're gonna bottom out against each other. You can see how long they are. So what you're doing is just cutting that to length. But I don't have it here, but the whole other thing is you're going to need to leave enough to counter tighten a 1/4 20 on the other side. You need to lock this into place. Now, when we do these, a lot of times where the thread ends, you screw it all the way in until it bottoms out against the riv nut threads, but you can see where you lose a lot of real estate for the hook. And I don't want that. So the idea is that you just thread it in enough to where you get rid of the threads and then leave enough back here and then get it to where you want it. And then you're going to counter tighten that nut on the back side. That's going to lock it in place. That way we have plenty of like getting it on and off. Speaking of which, I was thinking, well, you could just cut it at a 9 o'clock, just flush, come over here for, 90 degree, boom. But that might be cutting it a little too thin to win, because any sort of jostling might make it easy to just sort of, up and off. Oops. And then you have a guillotine of 1/8 inch Sintra coming down on someone's head. But the other side of that is if you make too much of a curl, Again, you just have civilians doing this. They're going to be swapping this in and out when it's not dollar tacos, when it's normal tacos, whatever. So we want to make it easy to, not have to lift up so high. You can see here, they're going to have to lift it up and off. And, somebody's going to be on a step stool. You don't want anyone getting hurt, but you also don't want it falling off. So I say start like this, start at kind of this angle. I did some testing here roughly. And it's relatively easy to come off, but if you leave too much, then you can't, it bonks against the thing. Right. So that's the whole point. So, maybe actually cutting compromising here might be better. Or maybe we do need to just do a, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 90 and get rid of that. I don't know. So do some testing. This might be a little too high. They might have to lift it up, but I think they can get it off at a 90 here and then slide it and go. But Corel is different than real life. So that's the whole point. So modify these, leave a little more than I did here for your nut. And then same thing on that side. So do all 4. And then again, when you're done, let's make sure these are nice and safe and nice and, no burrs, no nothing. So nobody gets hurt. And, but otherwise I think that's it. So just make sure everything's safe, everything's strong, and have fun with this nonsense. So other than that, if you have any questions, hit me up.
Check the technique. Check the technique.